Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. This is for Saturday, March the 16th, big day at Oaklawn Park that we will analyze for you. Tom Leach, along with Jen Kunden, Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development. And, Jim, it is an all-stakes pick four that they have lined up, 3 graded stakes on Saturday because the Rebel, the Derby prep, and the Arkansas Derby and Kentucky Derby prep has been split into 2 divisions. We're going to start in the 7th race with our analysis, and that is the Grade 2 Azeri, for fillies and mares 4 and up in a mile and the 16th. Only 6 in here, but it is headlined by 2 really good ones, Midnight Bisou and Elate. How do you see the Azeri?
Yeah, it's a nice race. It's a shame they didn't get 8 or 9 here. They could really do some handle, but I think the 6-horse race is pretty good. You've got Elate and Midnight Bisou, and you didn't even mention the Breeders' Cup champion, Shamrock Rose from last year at Churchill.
True.
Now she's stretching out from 7 furlongs to a mile and 16th, so there's a lot of question marks there as to how efficient she will be. But I think Midnight Bisou, Elate would be my pick, other than the fact that she's been off since August 25th. That was a great effort in the personal ensign. Just got beat by Abel Tasman by a neck. And then she's had some issues, obviously, since then. They've brought her back in this. It's a tough spot to come back. So I would not single Elate when we get to talk to the pick four, but I would take her as long as she's 2-1 or 5-2. Midnight Bisou would be my second choice. Eskimo Kisses is another horse that I think has a shot in here. Kenny McPeak put her up after the big disappointment Spinster here at Keeneland last year. This will be her first out in 19 as a 4-year-old, but she's capable, especially if there's a pace up front. Don't know if they're going to get that contested pace, and I'm not sure a mile 16th is long enough for her, but I would throw her in the mix as well, especially in the exotics. But Elate, Midnight Bisou, Shamrock Rose has to be considered. When we get to the pick four, I will go more than one deep, but Elate is my pick in the Azeri.
Yeah, I went for Elate, too, hoping that maybe I'd get a little better price between her and Midnight Bisou. Probably be close, but Bill Mott off a layoff. I thought the fact that he ships this horse out there to run in this spot suggests to me that she's ready off the layoff. Bullet work, two works ago was a bullet. And Jose Ortiz comes in and stays on the mount. So just a lot of reasons for Elate, and especially if you could maybe get her to be the second choice to Midnight Bisou and get a even a little better price would be the cherry on top of the sundae, so to speak. But I think it's one of those two. I don't like Shamrock Rose's chances of taking down both of those. But Elate's going to be my pick, getting the nod over Midnight Bisou. The first division of the Rebel is next in the 8th race for 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. It's a Grade 2. And Improbable, I thought, looked awfully strong in here. Grade 1 winner, over 2 next out winners. Baffert could win both divisions of this. So I can't pick against Improbable. But Extra Hope is intriguing. Richard Mandela has horses in this one and in the other division as well. And he's not a guy we see regularly on the Derby trail. And looks like he's got some chances to get a horse or two to the Derby this year. And, anytime a guy like that points for the Derby, you have to pay extra attention. The other one I thought I would include on a ticket perhaps is Long Range Toddy. I liked this horse last time in the first step on the road to the Arkansas Derby, and he ran third. Larry Jones, big long shot winner that day, and this horse came up the inside and got third. So I'm going to put that one, Long Range Toddy, on the ticket too. But Improbable's the win pick for me. How about you?
Yeah, they split this Rebel into 2 divisions, partially because of Santa Anita's problems and the horses not being able to run in the prep races out there. And they came up with 2 good races. And one of the things that some people at Red Mile asked me this past week is, I guess Baffert will get one in each one. Well, they do have a rule in Oaklawn that I was not aware of, that when you have trainers and they split a stakes race, they have to go in the other race. They don't draw them blindly. So I learned something there. So that's why Baffert is going to have the favorite in both of them, not just because he's Bob Baffert. Improbable is obviously the choice here, but when you talk about a pick four, you're going to get so much value if you can find an alternative. And I'm going to find an alternative in Galilean, the 8-horse. I'm thinking that Jerry Hollendorfer brings this horse here. I mean, he hadn't been challenged. He only lost by a neck in the stakes race at Santa Anita at 7 furlongs, but then he stretched him out at Los Alamitos and then to a mile and 16th at Santa Anita, and he didn't even have to break a sweat to win at 1-20 last time out. The 84 buyer figure is not impressive, but I'm thinking if he was challenged at all, it would have been better. And he's going to get overlooked in the wagering here because of Bob Baffert. So I think if you take Galilean as an option in the pick 4, you're going to make some money. And so I'm not going to single Improbable here, even though he is the most likely single on the card. I think Galilean has an outside chance to beat him. I think that's the only other one here that I would use.
Let's move to the race where maybe there's a chance to find some value also, and that's the Essex Handicap, the 9th race, 4-year-olds and up at a mile and a 16th. This is a really well-matched group in here, and I looked at it going a lot of different ways when it came time to make a pick. Where did you land?
Yeah, this is by far the best betting race of the sequence, and I think there's some argument that if you want to single Baffert in the 2 Rebel races, you could go all for a really low amount. But I'm gonna go 4 or 5 deep here. I think there's some question marks about the favorites. Great Expectations is dropping at a Grade 1 company, and probably is going to be the favorite here with Rosario coming in to ride for Peter Urton. If he runs back to his races last year, he's going to be awfully tough to beat in this spot. But he hasn't won since 2017, so I have some question marks about him. Snapper Sinclair won a perfect prep in the Razorback, or got a perfect prep in the Razorback. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. In the optional claimer at Oaklawn and a mile, and just basically a paid workout, and I think that sets him up well on February 17th. Chris and Dave also won at this track. The other 2 horses may have been moved up by off tracks. Especially Chris and Dave is one that I'll use. I'm not sure that muddy track is not what he really liked. Same thing with Radar Superstar has got a shot in here, but he does well on wet tracks as well. I don't think they're going to get any rain on Saturday. So I'm going to go deep in here. If you made me pick a horse, it would probably be Giant Expectations, and I would box that horse with Snapper Sinclair and Chris and Dave in the exacta.
I'm going to give a slight nod to Sonneteer. 3rd start off the layoff, and the race last month at Oaklawn had a little trouble. It's a horse that comes from way out of it, and so needs a good pace, but I think you could get that in here. And the horse has won over this track, which I like as well. So I'm going to give us the slightest of nods to Sonneteer, but I've got also 5 other horses on my list, and could be talked into more. Probably I'll just do all of them when we get to the pick 4. Heavy Roller was my next one. I like the 6. Chris and Dave, Nanouche, Giant Expectations, and then Rated R Superstar. I thought I had a nice race last time at a huge price for I think 2nd start for a new trainer. So I thought that one might be improving with the trainer switch. Sometimes that works for a different something clicks for a horse and it really moves up, and so Rated R Superstar I'm going to throw in there as well. But Sonneteer gets the slight nod for me. The other division of the Rebel is the last leg of this all-stakes pick 4, and I can't get past Game Winner. He's making his 19 debut, so that's possible concern, but working well for Baffert, and it's a horse that won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The workouts look fine. 3 Grade 1 wins. I can't get past this one. Omaha Beach for Mandela's another one, just the Mandela angle I talked about earlier. And then Laughing Fox is a little intriguing. I had a nice 87 buyer figure last time, and actually bet the horse that day because I went back and looked at the previous race, and it was a much improved effort, speed figure standpoint, and the horse just won much easier than it looked on paper. So I bet him back, and he ran really well. So an improving 3-year-old can always be a little dangerous. So if this one's got another move forward, he could be a little bit of a threat. So I'll include him as well. But Game Winner, pretty solid pick in the 2nd division of the Rebel for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think Laughing Fox, you always look at an affinity for the track, and he's 2 for 2 at Oaklawn. And when you say made that big buyer jump from 57 to 76, and he got another big jump to 87 in the race that you bet him, and that I think he's got an outside shot here as well. The only question mark I have with Game Winner is he has not raced in 2019 yet. He's been off since November 2nd. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile was his last race. He I've heard from Santa Anita that he's not working as well as he was prior to the juvenile last year. Don't know if he's progressed from 2 to 3 like Baffert's horses usually do. He's going to be 1 to 5 in here. And again, I'm going to try to get some value when we get to the pick 4 with a horse that you mentioned, Omaha Beach, and a horse that you didn't mention from Mark Cassidy called Our Brain Trust, who should have won the Withers, got bumped in the stretch last time. And I love the buyer progression for this horse. He ran a 77 at Laurel, came back at Aqueduct, he got an 87, and then got a 95 in the Withers. Now, that race is not going to come out that strong. Tax is not a highly rated Derby horse, but this horse is getting better to right time. And third race of a cycle, I think Our Brain Trust might sneak up and have a chance at beating Game Winner. So, again, going for value. Game Winner is the most likely winner, but that's not the way you make money to races. So I'm going to go 3 deep here. We get the pick 4.
All right. Well, give me your pick 4 ticket in the All-Stakes pick 4 at Oaklawn.
Nice segue, wasn't it? Okay. All right, 7th race at Oaklawn. I'm going to take 256, Midnight Bisou, Elate, and I'm going to throw in Shamrock Rose just in case. I mean, she was so impressive in the Breeders' Cup, and I'm going to give her an outside shot here. So I'm going to go 3 deep with 256. Going to take a stand with the 2 California horses in the first leg of the Rebel, with the Galilean, the 8, and Improbable, the 9. Going to go 5 deep in the Essex with the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Chris and Dave, Heavy Roller, Snapper Sinclair, Giant Expectations, the Rated R Superstar. And then I am going to go 3 deep in the last part of the Rebel with Game Winner, the 5, Omaha Beach, the 6, and Our Brain Trust, the 7. So that's 2, 5, 6 with 8, 9, with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, with 5, 6, 7. That's $45. But the other alternative, and I think you may do that. I don't know. You really like the 2 Bafferts. You could go all with single, or actually all with single for less than $30, and maybe you make some money on the other 2 races, but you're going to suffer the consequences of having very short prices in the 2 legs of the Rebel. I'm
going to get a little creative, but not singling both Bafferts. I'm going to offer 2 pick 4 tickets for this, and I'm going to take 2 and 5 in the first leg, then take Improbable, so the 9 single, take All in the Essex, and then take the 3 I like in the last leg, 2, 5, 6. And then the second ticket would be 2, 5 with, and I'm going to include the Hollendorfer that you like, so that'd be 2, 5 with 1, 2, 8, 9 with All, with singling the other Baffert, Game Winner. The thought being Baffert's going to win at least one of the 2, and if he wins them both, you'll have it twice. So that's going to be my play. It's a little more complicated than usual, but going to go on the angle that Baffert's going to win at least one of them, and this way it enables me to expand a little bit in the Essex, certainly, and just throw everybody in there. Maybe you catch a big price. Best of luck with your wagers on the Saturday card. And we'll be back next week for another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.